Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on IPM performance for the month of June. In today's webinar, we have some interesting topics to cover. As we used to interact with a lot of clients, many clients have requested me to help understanding how the diabetes market is performing. Post so many drugs going off patent, how is the market evolving over a period of time, and is everybody able to make the most of this market? So I have, as the first section, wherein we try to do some different analysis every month, I have added updates on oral anti-diabetes market. After that, we will be looking at the IPM therapy performance, the growth drivers, the top 40 corporates, as well as brands, the key takeaways, which summarizes our webinar today. And today we have a very interesting discussion and opinions that matter, where we are having a discussion with Mr. Umesh Kunte, who is MD and CEO of Albert David, wherein he talks about the emerging therapies in the Indian pharma market. So to start with our updates on the oral anti-diabetes market. So if I were to look at the oral anti-diabetes market in the last 5 years, how it has evolved, you look at the value trend of the market over the last 5 years, we see a very steady upward movement of this market in the last 5 years. There has been a slight aberration in the growth in June 20. Now, this is not month June 20, it is March June 20. And this is definitely a COVID impact, wherein after COVID was announced, people started hoarding the OAD drugs. However, normalization occurred over a period of time and the market growth has slowed down and it's come to a normal single-digit growth. Do we see the same phenomena in the quantity? When I'm talking about quantity, this is absolute tablets consumed. It's not strips, it's absolute tablets consumed. So that talks about the patient population which is consuming these products. In terms of quantity, wherein in terms of value, where we are seeing a steady upward movement, as when we look at the quantity, we don't see that steady upward movement. There has been a spike, a growth of close to 6% in the COVID times. Then again, there was one more spike, and then it came down, and again, there is one more spike. Now, those who are operating in the OAD market would definitely understand the reason for the same. However, for the rest of the audience, it is this dapagliflozin patent lost, which happened in October 20. And the sitagliptin patent loss, which happened in July 22. It is these two parameters or these two events in the market which have led to this upward movement of the market. Now, while we keep on talking, the market is attractive. In the last 5 years, the market has grown very well. However, it would be important to look at the multiplier effect. So to understand the multiplier effect, what we have done is we have looked at the value and quantity market in June 2019. And in June 2023, how many times has the market become in June 23, March June 23, as compared to where it was in March June 19? So if I were to look at the value, the market has become almost 1.3 times what it was in June 19, March June 19. And when it comes to quantity, it has become almost 1.1 time. Now this even 1.3 times, it would have been slightly more if the innovator brands would not have gone off patent, if they would not have brought the pricing down, probably the value still would have been on a slightly higher effect in terms of multiplier effect. However, when I'm looking at the growth, essentially the growth of this market is around 10% in terms of quantity as compared to what it was in 2019. And this growth is in line with the Indian population growth of which is around 1% year on year. And looking at the prevalence of diabetes in our population, which is anywhere between 8 to 11%, on an average, I would take it as 10% because the diabetes prevalence is around 8% in the lower tier cities, whereas in metros, it is slightly higher in the range of 11 to 12%. Then we did a further analysis of the multiplier effect. Because it is this multiplier effect which helps us to understand the gap between the actual opportunity and the perceived opportunity. Because the moment things start going off patent, everybody jumps into that market thinking that, wow, this is a great opportunity, let us make the most of it. But genuinely, how big is the opportunity? That is what we will understand when we look at the multiplier effect. For this, we have taken 4 core parameters: the value, the quantity, the brands, and the brands which are having a turnover of greater than 1 crore. So we look at the first parameter, which is the value. Value has become close to 1.3 times what it was in March, June 2019. However, this 1.3 times is not uniform across all the different groups in the OAD segment. It is the SGLT2 planes as well as combinations, along with the GLP-1 agonist, who have shown a relatively better performance in terms of the multiplier effect. Then we come to the quantity. In terms of quantity, the market has become 1.1 times. So it's not a major explosion in the patient population, which has now started consuming. It is 1.1 over here, whereas it is 1.5 over here, 40.1 over here, 4 over here. So essentially, while overall the market has grown by, it has become 1.1 times of what it was in 2019. But what happened is more of reshuffling. So people, the patients who were on this section or this segment have now moved to the newer segments. So it is majorly the reshuffling of patients or changes in preferences of prescriptions which has happened led to this type of performance. Next, and the most important one, is the brands. Number of brands that exist in the market today versus the number of brands that existed in the market in 2019. If you see, the number of brands have almost doubled, where the value has become 1.3 times, quantity has become 1.1. The number of brands are almost twice. So more number of players have jumped into this market, making the most of it. But how many of the players have actually made the most of this market is something which we get to see when we look at the number of brands who have a turnover of greater than or equal to 1 crore. The number of brands in 2019 with a turnover of more than or equal to 1 crore were much more than what they are today. So essentially, this is also meaning that while more brands come into the market, the competition also becomes tougher. Not that drugs going off patent, many brands can become big in this market. The situation becomes more challenging. Why does it become more challenging is the quantity still remains 1.1. All these brands which are now entering the market are still vying for this share or, vying to get share from this multiplier that the market has given. So essentially, the quantity multiplier indicates the actual market opportunity, whereas the brand multiplier indicates the perceived market opportunity. Of course, it's not that none of the new introductions have done well. The early entry guys or the guys who had their positioning, doctor segmentation right, managed to do well. Now, if I were to look at this challenging, tough scenario where competition was high, it is this SGLT2s with planes and combinations and the GLP-1 agonist who have actually managed to have a very good multiplier effect across all the 4 core parameters that we have evaluated. Of course, now if I were to compare this multiplier with the other areas or the other groups which were there in the market for quite some time, I would say the base is very small because the market has moved from 65 to 800 crore, 89 to 378 crore against the bigger markets, which are more than 2000 crore or 3000 crore markets. However, this also tells me, now you look at the number of brands who are having a turnover of greater than or equal to 1 crore versus the number of brands which are existing in the market. This ratio is definitely better than the other ratios or the ratios that we are seeing in the other groups in the oral anti-diabetes market. Here it is 48 to 182, 15 to 95 versus what we are seeing here is 56 to 377, 69 to 332. So this is a very important observation that we need to keep note of. Then we look at how the different, within each of these gliptins or SGLT2s, which are now becoming popular because things are going off patent, we are also looking at, how the market share is evolving over a period of time. So if I were to look at the SGLT2 combinations, in the combinations market, today, if you look at the sulfonylureas, the value market share, which was 42%, has gone to 38%. Whereas when it comes to quantity market share, it has come from 61% to 50%. So a good number of patients who are eligible for SGLT2s or gliptins have now shifted to the have now shifted from the sulfonylureas market. If I were to look at the market share of the SGLT2 today, it has moved, whether it is plains as well as combinations with DPP4, it is almost 7% market. Now, when I'm talking about quantity, it is the absolute units consumed. So this is a significant improvement from 0% in the last 5 years. This market is now occupying close to 7% of the quantity market share. Another observation that we had was about the DPP4 themselves. In terms of value, the DPP4 market share has come down. But in terms of units, the DPP4 market share has moved from 16% to 21%. Because two of the gliptins, sitagliptin as well as vildagliptin, have gone off patent. Vildagliptin went off patent long back, whereas sitagliptin went off patent recently. But then this has given a major push in terms of quantities in this market. Coming to the plains market, if you look at DPP4 quantity, improvement is from 16% to 19%. SGLT2s have actually moved from 3% to 11%. So a very good entrance, or the movement of gain in market share shown by both the DPP4 as well as the SGLT2 markets over a period of time. Then we look at within the gliptins, how has the shift happened? So if I look at within the gliptins, the Vilda plus metformin combination has moved from 34% value market share to 39% value market share. In terms of even units, from 25, it has moved to 43. Sita, after loss of patent, initially Sita had lost some market share, but as soon as sitagliptin went off patent in July 22, they have regained a market share of close to 26%. Now, if you look in terms of value, what is this? Is there a significant erosion in value? As of now, because still it's a 1-year phenomena, as of now, the value erosion doesn't seem to be that significant, whereas quantity gain seems to be significant. Teneligliptin is the market. Teneligliptin combinations market is the one which has significantly lost, because the market share within the gliptins has moved from 42% to 25%. Even though there is a significant erosion in this market share, what is important to be noted is it still has close to 25% of the quantity market share within the gliptin segment. Coming to the plains, you see in place of plain vildagliptin, the quantity market share has gone from 14% to a robust 36%. Teneligliptin has lost almost 30% quantity market share, whereas sitagliptin has gained from 9%, it has gone to 15% market share. So the Vilda and Sita have gained significantly. Probably this movement from 39 to 36% may have been because of some loss which may have happened to the sitagliptin off patent or generic brands coming in the market. Then we did a similar analysis for the SGLT2 plus SGLT2 plains as well as combinations. Dapagliflozin has actually managed to take away the entire quantity market share from the other dapagliflozins. Today, it has close to 82% of the quantity market share and 66% of the value market share. When it comes to plains, again, we see a similar phenomena wherein, however, in terms of in plains, EMPA still manages to have a 32% value market share, whereas DAPA today is more than 50% of the value market share and 77% of the quantity market share. This was about how, after the patent loss, the anti-diabetic market has evolved. So we thought about just looking at, it's almost 1 year that sitagliptin has lost patent. Let us see how the market is evolving. Now we go to our regular section wherein we look at the therapy performance, the growth drivers, the top corporates, 40 brands, key takeaways, and opinions that matter. So coming to the IPM therapy performance, for the month of June, the market has shown close to 6% value growth and minus 2.2% unit growth. In terms of value, if you see the cardiac and the diabetes segment, these are the two segments which still manage to have somewhat positive unit trend. Also, if you see the negative trend, it is existing in the market, it is gradually improving, and probably in the next month, we see a positive unit trend across all the therapy areas. If I were to look at the growth drivers in the market, In the current month, it is majorly price-driven growth. New introductions have also pulled up the growth significantly. However, the demand in the existing brands or existing older brands, they have led to the volume degrowth of the market. If I were to look at the same phenomena, same period last year, the market had shown a significant volume growth in June 22. So probably it can be a superimposition of the volumes in June 22 and June 23, which may have led to this type of unit degrowth that we are seeing in the market today. When we looked at some of the core therapy areas, we are seeing that these therapy areas, which we have highlighted in pink color, the gastro, the anti-diabetes, the nutritionals, the respiratory segment, these are the therapy areas where we see relatively higher volume-driven degrowth. Overall, all these therapy areas have grown, but then the older volumes have brought down the growth of the market. Interesting phenomena in the anti-diabetes segment, where the new introductions have significantly driven the growth of the market, but it has been at the cost of the older brands, where the shift has happened from the older brands to the newer molecules in the, newer branded generics which have entered the market. Coming to the top 40 corporates, majority of the top 40 corporates, despite all the challenges, have managed to show a positive, and to some extent, some corporates like Torrent Pharma, Intas, Macleods, they have managed to show a double-digit value growth, and many of them are on a positive unit growth as well. Coming to the next 21 to 40 rank corporates, again, we see there are certain players like Rananon, Ajanta Pharma, then we have Hetero Drugs, we have Bharat Serums, Hetero Drugs and Corona, which have managed to show a double-digit value growth, despite a 6% growth shown by the market overall IPM for the month of June. Coming to the top 40 brands, for the major or the top brands, a good number of top brands, unit growth still continues to be somewhat challenging. However, what needs to be noted is Cipla's brand Puracort continues, which is among the top 20 brands, continues to show a double-digit robust value as well as unit growth for the month as well as for the MAT period. Of course, there are some other brands as well which show a robust double-digit growth. Pan from Alchem also shows a robust double-digit value growth, though the unit growth may be at a single digit. Coming to the next brands, we see next set of brands, which is ranked 21 to 40. Rhizodec from Abbott and Telma from Glenmark. Again, they have shown a phenomenal performance where they have grown by double digit for the month as well as for the MAT. And the growth is for Rhizodec, if you see the growth at MAT period also stays to be more than 40%, and even for the month period, it stays to be more than 40%. So if I were to summarize what we have seen till date, the OAD market has become fiercely competitive. Innovator molecules going off patent have created a significant gap between the actual opportunity and the pursued opportunity. For the month of June, while majority of the therapies have shown a positive value growth, it is only the cardio and the anti-diabetes segments which have shown unit growth on a slightly positive note. New introductions have a significant contribution to the growth of the market this month. However, the volumes of the older brands are pulling down the growth of the market. Majority of the top corporates are on a positive value and unit growth for the month of June 23. And if I were to look at the overall, the market seems to be strengthening gradually on the positive value and unit monthly growth trajectory. So probably the minus or the slightly negative unit growth that we have seen today would have got converted to positive growth by July data set. So this was about the analysis of the Indian pharma market. And now we go to our most interesting section, wherein we have the opinions that matter section, wherein we have a very interesting discussion with Mr. Umesh Kunte, who is MD and CEO of Albert David, on emerging therapies in the Indian pharma market.
Welcome to another episode of Opinions That Matter. Today we had the opportunity of speaking to Albert David, a company that has very recently shifted their headquarters from Kolkata to Mumbai. We had the opportunity of speaking to Mr. Umesh Kunte, the MD and CEO of Albert David. Sir, welcome to Opinions That Matter.
Thank you, Richa.
It's a pleasure meeting you this morning, sir. Sir, I have a lot of questions to ask you, but then I'll begin with one question. What do you think is the future of the market now?
Well, I think there is no brainer, as we all know. The market has a tremendous future. As we all colloquially say, that India has become now the pharmacy of the world. And it is definitely is going to show India as the emerging player in the world pharma market. It has already started happening in last decade or so, but it is going to strengthen its position in coming decades as well. While I say so, there are also a lot of newer trends which are emerging and we have to acknowledge that. And as an industry, I think we need to respond to that. See, just to summarize a couple of them, and the first one which is on my list, if you ask me, is the usage of data science. I think we need to embrace the data. Traditionally, if you see, pharma industry has been using the data, but it is much at the primitive level. The way the other industries have evolved over a period of last a decade, if I say so, in terms of usage of data, the application of data science, artificial intelligence, which is not yet happened in the pharma industry to that extent. It has started happening, especially the application in R&D has gone up substantially. But my favorite statement here is, in sales and marketing or in business operations, in commercial operations, we have still not used to a great extent. We are still using the data in a much more unorganized, fragmented, unstratified way. And a lot has to be done in terms of analytics of those data, driving the learnings into the strategy formation, or even for that matter, improvisation of the execution excellence. I think we still have a lot to do in this area.
So please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to be the devil's advocate and talking from a brand manager or even a product executive perspective here. Is our industry not very simple? We have very basics to work on. Go meet the doctor regularly, promote the right brand to the right doctor, and the prescriptions will flow.
Well, as it appears to be very simple, but it is not really. When we are talking about more than 1 lakh of doctors who are actively, daily practicing in every part of the world, even if you assume that a doctor sees 20 patients in a day on an average, 1 lakh doctors, 20 patients, we are talking about 20 lakh patients. And if I take about 3 prescriptions or 3 brands in a prescriptions, the 20 lakh patients means actually 60 lakh brands are prescribed in the country.
True.
And now if I multiply by it to 365 days in a year, we are talking about the mammoth task of data being generated.
Correct.
My question here is, this data is completely unorganized and fragmented today. 90% of this data is on the chip of a prescription pad or a letterhead.
Correct.
It's not digitized everywhere.
Right.
So we do not have much access to analyze this data, understand the consumer behavior, understand the patterns in that. And hence, the product management is working more on a hunch than the analytics.
Correct.
And that's where I will say what you said is correct. It sounds simple, but it is not really.
True.
Just imagine those millions and billions of prescriptions which are getting generated in a country like India. Those data, it gets formalized somewhere and dissected, stratified in terms of the indications, co-prescriptions, secondary prescriptions, age analysis, disease analysis, duration of therapy. A lot of more and more insights will come.
Right.
And that's where I talk about I think we have a long way to go in terms of applications of artificial intelligence in the commercial operation.
Correct.
A lot we have done on R&D. Today, by using artificial intelligence, the basic drug research has come down from 10 to 12 years to 8 years. Going forward, it will further come down if we start using AI and machine learning tools into clinical trials.
Very true.
So we are moving in that direction on that front.
Correct.
The finance department, distribution logistic department is yet another area where the data science needs to be really make some difference.
So, am I right in assuming that we are far behind the other industries when it comes to adoption of technology?
Yes, but the good sign is we are catching up. A long way to go, but yes, I think we are catching up. But yeah, when you say we are far behind, if I talk about the insurance industry, banking industry, consumer industry, the other logistics in the industries, yes, we are far behind. Even for that matter, today the media industry has far evolved using this artificial intelligence.
True.
So to that extent, we are behind, but we will catch up very soon now.
Right.
So that was the one trend. The another trend is digitization. So we are still using the digital media at much lower pedestal. I know that we have moved from a physical visual aid or a literature to a tab detailing, but I will say we have just scratched the surface.
Correct.
A real usage of that medium has not yet happened. If I say cut across the industry, I'm saying there are far and few leaders who have done well, but the majority of the players have still not utilized the digital media.
Right.
And I keep telling to the youngsters in the marketing, the teams, that if you really look at it, there are probably more than 18 to 20 ways where you can digitally touch the customers. Okay, there are plenty of them. People just don't go beyond a tab detailing. They don't understand. But there are, as I said, I repeat, there are at least 20 different ways where any pharma company digitally can engage their customers.
Right.
So the digitization is something which we really need to embrace much more emphatically than what we are doing. So that's another trend which I think the industry should look at it. The third one, which is my favorite, and I have been saying this on many platforms, we as an industry do not spend enough resources on training and development of our people. When I say training and development, I am not talking about the induction or a refresher training of the medical reps. I am talking about the managerial training, whether it is in the field or it is in the head office. I sometimes feel, very pity for those product management people who are left out on their own to upgrade and upskill themselves compared to the other industries. Again, consumer industry, finance industry, media industry. When I look at all these industries and what kind of training those people do they get, I think the product management community in pharma industry get very little support from the pharma management across all the companies. So this is where I think we should do. If we want to roll out the laser sharp out of the box strategies to the stakeholders like doctors, I think we need to train our people much more vehemently than what we have been doing. So these are the couple of trends I would like to suggest that this is going to change the industry.
I guess I'm jumping the guns, but then what is it that Albert David is doing about the training for the people?
Well, we have just begun, and I must be honest in saying that we have just begun. But we have been putting a lot of efforts in this area. We are doing a lot of competency-based training to the entire managerial bandwidth in the organization, be it in the factory, be it in the logistics supply chain, be it in finance, marketing, sales, HR. So we have decided to take training at the forefront, both competency-based training, skills and behavioral training. The idea is that if we train the people, if we help them to develop themselves first, the returns to the organizational development will be far more.
Correct.
And I am a firm believer in this. If you grow personally, you will grow professionally as well. And if you grow professionally, collectively the organization will grow.
Very true.
So we are doing in a big way. last couple of months, we have really changed our gears in that direction.
And sir, now let's talk about one of the favorite therapy areas of Albert David, gynecology segment. Now, past few months, we have seen dydrogesterone doing extremely well in the therapy area. What else do you think is going to be the next blockbuster in this therapy?
A good question. I must confess, not only any particular molecule per se, I think women's healthcare is definitely going to see a sea change in coming decades. It has also happened in last a decade or so. There is no question, and there is no brainer in this saying. Today, if you look at it, women's healthcare is one of the most promising therapeutic segment which is growing. Reasons are many, but all well known to us. The economic evolution, the demographic evolution of the women as a large population, I'm saying, is amazing and it's quite exciting. Be it urban or non-urban, metros, non-metros, or we can say rural population, which is non-urban, we can say. Today, I think that segment, which is at the most appropriate stage to evolve much rapidly, largely because of the access. Now the access to the healthcare professionals, access to the medicines have tremendously growing up. Gone are those days where the hygiene awareness or education which was missing in those areas, which is fastly changing now. Like say example about the good menstrual hygiene is now well known even in the rural population.
Right.
So is with healthcare awareness is growing up. The access, as I said, today thanks to pandemic, but post-COVID, the healthcare professionals from the city areas, from the urban areas, are now reaching out to the rurals through the newer ways of video consultation, teleconsultation. So that's where is also helping the women's healthcare, women's population getting a better healthcare needs, medicines, screening, diagnosis. Is definitely helping, and which is really improving nowadays. Today you see a smaller proportion of the rural population now is considered as an anemic compared to 20 years back. Now the awareness has increased now, so that's an advantage. So this is something which is helping the women's healthcare market to grow. Obviously, right from pre-puberty to the octogenarian population of the women segment, everybody is aware about their health needs, and they are going out to seek the help. So we have a pre-puberty, puberty, menopause, pregnancy, infertility, the other health-related diseases, even the look and beauty of the woman. Everywhere, if you see, the woman population is spending money because they are more educated, more knowledgeable, more willing to go out, take the help of the professionals and satisfy their own needs. So this is going to grow up anyway, right? And a small proportion in between of the entire women's healthcare spectrum is an infertility, which I'm sure you know is also increasing rapidly because of the so many factors, biological factors, psychological factors like stress, the hectic lifestyle, the late marriages, and so on and so forth. We can go on counting few more reasons for that same thing. But infertility also is growing up. But the good part is, earlier, infertility market only used to be in metros. But today, we see a radical shift. Even the women population from the rural areas are now seeking the help rather than suffering in the dark. They are looking at the solutions to their problem, and they are migrating, or they are flouting to the metro markets or the city markets to seek the treatment and go back. So that's where something which is a new trend coming up, and now a lot of centers are getting opened up in the feeder towns as well for that. The other one is, as I said, the screening one. You see, the awareness about breast cancer was very poor. Now even the class 1 towns, class 2 towns, class 3 towns women are now getting aware about such kind of things, cervical cancer or the breast cancer. And because of this, the demand and the need for this kind of therapies are also increasing in these areas. So I see particularly women's healthcare will be a definitely growing segment. And we at Albert David obviously have the patented innovative products like PharmaTrac, which becomes a cornerstone of most of the gynecological practices. But apart from that, we also have a lot of good product range. We are known as a house of amino acids. So alamine range is our another forte, which is also is seeing a wider acceptance now, and so on and so forth. We have almost 7 to 8 product baskets which we offer to gynecology. So in all, this is what is we believe that gynecology or women's healthcare is going to be our leading driver for the business.
So, sir, apart from gynecology, which other therapy area do you think has the potential to grow the way gynecology is going to grow in the Indian markets?
Other than the women's healthcare segment, a couple of segments which, in my particular personal opinion, will remain in limelight. Other than the cardio-diabetes, which is a chronic care therapy basket, which is obviously going to grow and going to always remain in limelight. Though the number of new molecules are slowing down, but still it will continue to be always the front runner. But apart from that, I think there are a couple of therapy areas which I feel will definitely have a prominent position or prominent driver in the pharma industry. One is orthopedic. See, India is obviously a young population, but eventually we are also increasing the geriatric population because of the longevity and the lifestyle, the quality of life. The geriatric, the population are going to throw some challenges, healthcare related challenges to us. So that's something which is definitely going to grow. And because of that, orthopedic is one area. The hip replacement, the knee replacement, the low back pains and the other issues they are going to grow up. Plus the lifestyle. 90% of the population today is suffering from the sedentary lifestyle, 8 to 10 hours working, sitting on a sitting posture. So all this is going to give all the orthopedic challenges, and this is going to definitely going to be a promising segment for the industry to look after. But for some interesting reasons, dermatology has become a quite attractive segment, and it's quite correct as well. In the COVID era, a lot of, because people were at home and people were more conscious about their health, I think people started becoming much more aware about their health and beauty and the physical health as well. That has also given rise to the dermatological market growing up and showing some nice triggers from there. That also is there. Another two areas which I feel will quite pick up. One is ophthalm area, and simply because, in my opinion, because of our screen time has gone up, our screen usage has gone up, and it's not only the physical and the mental stress, even the eye strain has become a major challenge for us. Plus, as I said earlier, the geriatric population is going up, so the indications like cataract or the glaucoma are going to catch up very soon. So ophthalm probably is a quite promising segment in the next decade or so. And dentistry is one such area which is not everybody's favorite area, but that also is fast catching up in the next decade or so. So these are some of the trends one should look at it. When it comes to the demographics or age population, as I mentioned, the geriatrics, apart from that, the pediatric segment, somebody should look after it because it's a growing segment. It's a area where people are ready to spend money. The OTC segment, in general, I'm saying not across any male or female gender or the age. I'm talking about in general larger population. The OTC segment is definitely going to grow. People are now have come to a stage where people are willing to spend more money on their health and well-being and supportive programs, and that has resulted also in a lot of e-commerce business coming up in the healthcare spectrum, thanks to their digitization of the whole industry. So I also see a newer trend in getting into nutraceuticals or cosmeceuticals or OTC products picking up, and that's one more opportunity area which I feel is quite worth noting.
Sir, you touched about a lot of therapy areas. Now, I'm very intrigued to understand what is Albert David's plan under your leadership. Are you entering the therapy areas? Are you planning to launch more products under very different therapy areas?
Well, again, this time also the question is quite loaded and the answer can't be so small and brief. But yes, we at Albert David has a good robust plan, and we have identified 5 to 6 strategic growth levers for a mid-term to long-term range. To start the top of the list, yes, I think we will be getting into the new product launches. Most of the product launches will happen in those attractive therapy areas which I mentioned some time back. Just to summarize it, in women's health care, in ortho pain management, in derma, in ophthal, in and so on and so forth areas, we will definitely look into the newer and newer opportunities. While I say so, I also believe that lot of our existing brands yet to reach a full potential. So we will also focus on brand building. We have PharmaTrac, Alamin, we have Anaflam, we have Avik, so many out there, and I keep telling my marketing team that we have a Navaratnas, 9 diamonds, and we can easily make them grow because they have not really reached the full potential of their being in the market for long. We have a respectable market share, leadership positions in some of them, but we can definitely do much better in those brands. So brand building is something which I will drive the most in the first place. New product opportunity is something which definitely we will look into it. Apart from these two, we also will look at a lot of marketing or the strategy around the portfolio. So portfolio strategy, is something which we will look at it. There's something will happen with the divisionalization also. More laser sharp, operational strategies which will work it out in and around the field force structure, the delivery, the mechanics, the processes. We will also adopt the digitization in the faster way compared to what we have done in the past. So that also will happen. We are also going to explore the international markets with the company of Albert David, a good, strong brand reputation, some novel, innovative, patented products we have. So we will explore the international markets. And I think last but not the least, it's everybody's favorite, so is of mine. We will also explore the inorganic growth strategy as well. As in time comes, we will start placing the cards on the table, but I think that's also on the card.
Sir, I'm very sure under your leadership, Albert David is going to fly high in the coming years. And the products that you're going to launch in the market are going to make a lot of momentum and create a lot of noise for all of us to hear in the coming future. Thank you so much, sir, for spending us today morning. It was lovely talking.